So good morning, everybody. I want to welcome you to the August 8th, 2023 meeting of the Calvert County Board of Commissioners. At this time, I'd like to ask Father Garcia with Christ Church in Port Republic if he would come forward with an invocation.
So before I give the invocation, the chairman and clerk have asked me to make an announcement about the 156th Calvert County Jousting Tournament, which Christ Church will host on the 26th of August. It's always the last Saturday in August. Admission to the grounds are free. Guests pay only for meals and purchases. The centerpiece of the day, of course, is ring lance jousting. That begins at noon and goes until the competition ends, usually around 5 p.m. There's a lot more, though, than just jousting that day. There's a bazaar from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with homemade baked goods, homemade jams and jellies and pickles and sauces, attic treasures, a used book sale, hot dogs, snow cones, ice cream, other food booths. There's free children's activities, pony rides, balloon artists, face painting, games, and more. And we sell a parish hall supper from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. for $28 for adults, $12 for children, with deviled crab, fried chicken, baked ham, and church-made sides. The same meal is available as takeout box suppers from noon to 6 p.m. And there are concerts in the church from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Thank you for the opportunity to invite people. We hope to see you all on the 26th of August. Let's pray. Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, we ask your blessing this morning on our commissioners as they gather to take counsel for the governance of Calvert County. Make them faithful stewards of the bounty you have so richly provided in this place. Grant them wisdom, charity, and justice, that with steadfast purpose they may faithfully serve the well-being of all the residents of the county. In all that we do, help us to know and serve your will and build up your kingdom. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So yes, that was a government-sanctioned plug for Christ Church. If you've never attended the Christ Church tournament, you need to go. When I was young, I jousted, but as I tell everybody, I traded one horse for $350, and I gave it up. But it's a wonderful event. Jousting is the state sport, and as Father mentioned, they have a dinner every evening that is excellent, that I'm not sure I'm going to make this year. It's very unfortunate. But if you've never been to the Christ Church Jousting Tournament, you really need to go and experience it for yourself. And so we appreciate Father Garcia coming in today and give us an invocation. So thank you, Father.
Thank you.
So at this time, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion, a second, to approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Public service announcements. Yesterday, we did have a lot of communications out because there were severe weather warnings. Fortunately, most of us did not see any of that, although there was some significant weather in the north end of the county. But just in the future, whenever there are weather events, you pay attention to the county communications system. We'll advise you of what's going on. And as always, we ask you to be prepared in the summer season for those types of events. Just a reminder, there will be no meeting of the Calvert County Board of Commissioners next week because MACO, Maryland Associations of Counties Summer Convention, will be going on, and we'll all be attending that. So there will be no meeting. And want to thank all those. We've had a clear the shelter event because we did have too many, I believe, dogs at the shelter there for a while, so they waived all the fees. I think I've been told that that was a very successful campaign. So we want to thank all those individuals, and always remember, if you're looking for a pet, you can go down to the Calvert County Animal Shelter, and they have lots of wonderful pets. I had a neighbor who's looking for a dog, and he mentioned to my wife, but he wanted a dog that was already housebroken. You can go to the shelter, and they have animals that have been turned in that are all housebroken and already, you don't have to train them.
Turnkey, ready to go.
It's Yes. So, anytime you're thinking about a pet, please think of the Linda Kelly Animal Shelter and go down there and probably find something that meets your needs. And we also want to put a plug in for the Solomon's Dragon Boat Race or Festival. We'll see that in a minute or so. That's on August the 19th in Solomon's. Begins at 8:30, runs till about 3 o'clock. And if you've never seen a dragon boat race, it's pretty interesting. We're very fortunate here in Calvert County. We have 2 a year, one in North Beach and one in Solomon's. And Solomon's is the last one of the summer. So it's an opportunity to go out and spend a day in Solomon's and see a lot of exciting, interesting activities.
Mr. President, I have to say, I did that one year and brought Team Heart with me, my wife and daughter. My son was too young, and let me tell you, that is the longest, 1 minute or 2 minutes on the face of the earth? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Round 2, I had to let Carolyn do it. I said, I'll stand watch from the sideline. That is some physical stuff. They roll. I did it with Sheriff Evans that year, and I mean, oh, man.
Since we're talking about it, come on up.
It's a great event, but boy, was I not in shape for that.
Right there at the mic, introduce yourself. And
Hi, I am Susan Udy from Lusby, Maryland. I've been working with the Southern Maryland Community Resources for 10 years. This is our 10th year. And I think the 7th year maybe for the Dragon Boat races. And it is a community for helping the special needs. Oftentimes they're called disabled. However, we all have different abilities. There's a lot of abilities, and there is going to be a special race with the special needs. I forget their name, sorry. And on Friday evening, January 18th, there is going to be a presentation awards of 3 people that I'm aware of that have been extremely special in working with the Dragon Boat since the onset of it. So thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. And come on down and join us. If you'd like to paddle, you can paddle. You can raise $100 and be a paddler. Just go onto the website. And we do have a website, SolomonsDragonBoatFestival.com.
And the boats are cool too. If anybody's never seen it, I mean, they're decorated out. It is a really cool event.
So were you a
very much.
drummer or a rower?
I rode, Lexi drummed. I'd have been better off drum, even though we would have been very out of sync. But trying to keep up with them boys from law enforcement was tough.
And there is practice week next week, starting Monday, starting about, I think, 5:30, which you can go and witness that down at Solomon's Island at the Riverboat Walk, at the River Walk.
Well, if you remember, we were going against the St. Mary's.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, so that was, there was some serious competition.
And I remember you down there, and I was taking a picture of you doing the hopscotch. Down there, when you were,
You remember that, huh?
oh, I was there.
Unfortunately, how some of that film just never dies.
It's on Facebook. Go to his website, and you can go back a few years.
so
But it was fun.
when is practice?
It is starting Monday, a week from yesterday, I believe. And it goes throughout the week.
In the evenings?
In the evenings, like about 5:30-ish. And you'll see the different teams going and doing their practicing, getting together to coordinate.
It's tough. It's not
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, it's not easy, and I haven't done it yet, but
Looks like you've been
Friend of mine did.
practicing.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
a lot.
you got the
It's
order
a
there.
lot. Thank you very much for this plug. And I also want to share that my nephew is one of the jousters, has been a jouster. I think he's going to be there this year. I don't know yet, but for the Maryland jousting at the church. Back to you. Back to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
Yeah, I think not too long ago, we had a national champion here in Calvert County, jouster. One of the young ladies from down on Maple Road was a national champion. So if you've never witnessed jousting or dragon boat races, just put that on your calendar. We're having some exciting events coming up in Calvert County here in the very near future. So we greatly appreciate all the volunteers that work so hard to put on all these events. Christ Church raising money for their church, and the Dragon Boat Race is raising money for those special needs. We really do appreciate it. We have a great community here in Calvert County. They work really hard for others, so we thank you for that. That concludes my public service announcements. So that will bring us to our first proclamation for National Farmers Market Week. Ms. Trossback or Director Oberg?
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you very much. My name is Julie Oberg, Director of Economic Development, and thank you for taking the time here today to talk about farmers markets and the vital role that they play in our nation's food system. Farmers markets provide fresh local produce, meats, and locally sourced products. They also help to support local family farms and food-based businesses. And our farmers work tirelessly to provide nutritious and delicious ingredients for our families and businesses. So this week and beyond, I'd like to invite everyone to show our appreciation for our growers and producers by buying fresh products for one of our 4 Calvert County farmers markets. And we have several special guests here today. So I'd like to invite anyone who's involved with farmers markets to please come on up and introduce yourselves and then be part of the picture. Caroline, do you want to go? Caroline, I know you have some more things to say. Why don't you go first?
Yes, I would like to take this time to say thanks to many different people. I'm Caroline Drossback. I'm the Agricultural Development Specialist with Economic Development, and I work with coordinating our farmers markets. But the farmers markets wouldn't be successful with our many customers and vendors who have all worked, and definitely due to their weekly support, they have helped our markets grow this year and always. I do want to thank our market hosts of Calvert Health on Tuesday afternoons, Dunkirk District Park on Thursday afternoons, Sneed's Ace Home Center in Lusby, and the town of North Beach, both on Saturday mornings. I want to thank the Calvert County Government Departments of Economic Development, Communications and Media Relations, Finance and Budget, Department of Public Works, Parks and Recreation, and Technology Services, and any others for their hard work towards our successful markets. We appreciate the Maryland Market Money Program and the Lifestyles Program for their support with nutrition benefits. We encourage everyone to come to the Tractor Supply Company Farmers Market in Huntingtown on Saturday, August 19th, along with all of our regular markets. Vendors are getting ready as we speak for the Prince Frederick Market this afternoon at Calvert Health Hospital North Campus parking lot from 2:30 to 6:30 p.m. And thank you so much for everyone in this room. We have bags if you're interested. For helping Calvert County celebrate National Farmers Market Week. And I'd like our supporters to introduce themselves.
Good morning, I'm Debbie Jones. I help run the Farmers Market Association as well as owner of Windy Willow Farm. So thank you all for all of your support over the years, and we just need you all.
Come on up, Debbie.
Hi, I'm Mary Galway. I'm the Director for Community Wellness at Calvert Health, and I have Mackenzie Orange with me. She's our Data and Program Outreach Coordinator for Community Wellness, and we didn't dress as colorfully as the Dragon Boat, but we did dress in our farmers market uniforms that we wear on Tuesdays when we host over at the hospital. And I just want to take the opportunity also, Carolyn mentioned the SNAP program and the lifestyles. We're actually doing a project improvement this year with the market this year to try to increase the number of families and the number of dollars that are matched at our market by 25% for the season. So we've been tracking that on a weekly basis. We're doing very well. Started off a little slow, but hope to pick up by the end of the season. But we want to increase the opportunity for families in need to come out to the markets and buy that healthy produce and meats and partake in that. So it's been going very well. I just wanted to put a plug for that also.
Mackenzie Orange with Calvert Health, and as Mary said, we host the Tuesday Farmers Market.
Good morning, I'm Ron Clauder. I'm a backyard beekeeper, and I sell my honey that's produced by my beautiful lady bees at the farmer's market behind the hospital, and I'll be there this afternoon if you have a yearn for some local honey.
So thank you all very much for coming in and joining us today. You know, a few weeks ago we did the Buy Local Challenge, and we celebrated all of our farmers and watermen and all the wonderful, and wineries and breweries and all the wonderful things that you can buy that are locally produced here in Southern Maryland. And I put a plug in then, just like a Will Nail, that, you know, when you go to farmers market, you cut out the middleman. That money goes directly to the producers, and it helps keeps our farms profitable. And as you ride around, and everybody loves our open space, that's how we keep our space open, is to keep our farms profitable. And the Calvert Health Market is this afternoon from 2:30 till 6:30, and it's not just a farmer's market. They have lots of other booths there where they have information. A couple times a year they have themed events where they do they specialize in women's wellness, and then they'll do a market where they specialize in men's wellness. And so there's lots of opportunities there, not just to purchase products, but to learn and help improve your health. So just want to give all of you a big shout out for what you do for one of those markets. As it's not easy, it's a lot of work. And Mr. Kaluta, my wife loves his honey, so I got to go by the market this afternoon and restock. Honey, if you don't know what I learned when I was Secretary of Agriculture, it depends on what the bees feed on how the honey tastes. And it's amazing the range of taste. If you go to the State Fair, they have an exhibit there, and there are I don't know how many different varieties of honey based on where the bees feed. And it's, but Ron, I don't know what his bees eat, but my wife loves what they eat. So I'm going to give Ron a special plug today. So I have a proclamation here to read. Whereas the week of August 6th through the 12th, 2023 has been designated National Farmers Market Week by the United States Secretary of Agriculture. And whereas farmers, ranchers, and watermen provide Americans with access to healthy foods produced locally and regionally through farmers markets, which are expanding and evolving to accommodate the demand for a diverse array of agricultural products. And whereas farmers markets and other agricultural direct marketing outlets provide infrastructure to assist in the distribution of farm and value-added products, as well as serve as important community gathering places, fostering social interaction and a sense of belonging amongst residents. Whereas Calvert County's 4 farmers markets serve as significant outlets for small to medium, new, beginning, and experienced agricultural producers to market agricultural products, in turn promoting sustainable agricultural practices, environmental stewardship, and the preservation of our region's agricultural heritage, while generating revenue that supports the sustainability of family farms and the revitalization of rural communities nationwide. And whereas Calvert County citizens recognize the importance of expanding agricultural marketing opportunities to help generate income for farmers, ranchers, and watermen, while stimulating business development and job creation. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Calvert County that the week of August 6th through 12th, 2023 be known as National Farmers Market Week in Calvert County. Be it further proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Calvert County encourages all citizens to recognize agriculture's significant role and contribution to the local economy, environment, and quality of life. Given our hands and seals this 8th day of August 2023, signed by all 5. Congratulations.
Now, though, see, everybody was going to scooch in.
Everyone's great.
Thank you. I bet she has these certain things. Oh, there's a message here.
You get the garlic.
What'd you get?
I got eggplant.
I'll have to look up what the beat means.
They came from static, so there's 5 different ones, and I gave 5 different ones.
Have a great day. Thank you so much.
So that brings us to consent. We have 2 items under consent today. Item 1, Department of Parks and Recreation. Oh, thank you. Department of Parks and Recreation budget adjustment for Halloween Point Park development projects. Item 2, Department of Technology Services, approval of multi-year contract for mass notification software. Are there any objections to the 2 items under consent today?
Have none.
Hearing none, those items will be adopted as presented. That brings us to work session, Department of Human Resources Personnel, Chapter 86, Code Amendments, Part 1, Introduction. Director Woodson, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm
Good
Melanie
morning.
Woodson, the Human Resources Director. Good morning, Dina Davis, Human Resources Deputy Director.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I'll start off by reading the memo. Today, we are here to talk about Personnel, Chapter 86, Code Amendments, and specifically Part 1, the introduction of the code. Background. The Department of Human Resources is moving forward with a comprehensive review of Personnel, Chapter 86 of the County Code. Our goal for this review is to simplify, deconflict, update, and render best practices to our existing personnel policies. Significant updates to Chapter 86 were adopted in 2006, 2009, and 2017, with amendments proposed and adopted as necessary in the intervening years. Work sessions with the Board of County Commissioners will be held regularly to review proposed amendments. Discussion. Today's work session will include a presentation to explain the process of updating Chapter 86 and to summarize the significant changes proposed to Part 1, Introduction of Chapter 86. In Attachment A, deletions are indicated by red strikeouts and additions by blue underlines. Attachment B is a clean copy of the proposed amendments. Fiscal impact, none. Conclusion recommendation. Staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners review and discuss the proposed amendments to Part 1, Introduction of Chapter 86. So Dina is the project manager on the code updates. Her team is here to assist. She will give the presentation, and we are happy to answer any questions that you may have. A little bit of background on our process for the amendment process here. Our personnel policies are found in Personnel Chapter 86 of the Code of Calvert County. We are completing a review of Personnel Chapter 86 now. And to reiterate our objectives, we want to simplify, deconflict, update, and render best practice county policies. So the process is as follows. HR drafts Chapter 86 amendments. We share those amendments with department heads for their feedback. As we are doing today, we have a work session with the board for additional feedback and direction. The proposed amendments are sent to the county attorney's office for legal review. We hold a public hearing, and after 10 days, the board will vote, and then those amendments are adopted. Just to let you know a little bit of the timeline for our process, we are here today to talk to you about Part 1. There are 11 parts. So we anticipate that we will have work sessions 1 through 11 as needed, and then we will have one public hearing for the entirety of the code amendments. Today we are here to talk about Part 1, Introduction, and there are, as I stated, 11 parts to Chapter 86. An overview of the proposed amendments for Part 1, Introduction. Article 1 is Objectives, Authority, and Scope. Throughout the code, our intention is to simplify and clarify the language that we use. We have revised Director of Personnel to Human Resources Director throughout the code. This was a change, a reorganization many years, changing the name of our department. We added field training officer pay and K-9 handler pay to the parts of the code that apply to sheriff's office deputies. This falls under scope. As a reminder, we are the pay agent for the sheriff's office in terms of their sworn staff, contract staff, and appointed staff. So there has been an agreement over which sections of the county code apply to those workers, and we are adding 2 sections to this section. We had approved them within the last several years: field training officer pay and canine handler pay. We removed reference to the Law Enforcement Officers' Bill of Rights, which was repealed in July 2022. And we've noted that copies of Chapter 86 shall be made available to employees on the county's website, intranet, or by request from the Department of Human Resources. This is really recognition of a change in our processes. For many years, when I started with the county 20 years ago, all employees were provided a paper copy of the code. So we no longer do that, but we do make it available in various locations. Article 2 is equal employment opportunity, affirmative action, and diversity statements. Again, we are simplifying and clarifying language here, and we are strengthening the discrimination, harassment, and affirmative action policy language that we use. We have also added a diversity statement. This is new. Calvert County is committed to maintaining a diverse workplace where all employees have the opportunity to participate and contribute to success and recognize they are valued for their skills, experience, and unique perspectives. This commitment is embodied in human resource policies and practices and demonstrated by the relationship with employees and service to the community. A little bit of background here. This statement was drafted by our consultant, and it was reviewed by the county administrator. And this is the recommendation of Human Resources to include this in our code. Article 3 is the terminology used throughout the code, so this is the definition section. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we will be making changes to all 11 parts. And as we get to each part, we will more than likely be adding additional definitions to Part 1. But these are the changes that we have made to date to Part 1 for our definitions. We have simplified and clarified definitions. We've removed 3 definitions related to the classification of Fair Labor Standards Act status, or FLSA. These are administrative employee, executive employee, and professional employee. We have added 8 new definitions. We have added a definition for compensatory leave. I believe that this was a recommendation from a department head. It's something that we've always had. We always, as a public employer, we have the option of providing compensatory leave instead of paid overtime, but now we're adding a definition. Compressed work schedule. And we're adding 3 definitions related to furlough. We realized during COVID that we did not have a policy to place employees out of work temporarily. So adding furlough period, and a furlough plan to the code will allow us to have more options in the event that we ever have a pandemic in the future. We're adding job profile to our definitions. This is a result of the recent implementation of Workday. So we have used the term class specification instead of job description, and Workday uses job profile. So it's just to update the language that our employees will see us using. We are defining layoff and Workday, not related to the software, but we use this definition throughout the code, but we're now adding it to the definition section. It isn't new, it's just being added to the definitions here. That is all we have for Part 1. We anticipate coming back with Part 2 in September. And just a sneak preview of some of the items that are included in Part 2. We'll be talking about probationary periods and the nepotism policy. Do you have any questions for us on Part 1?
I do have one question. When was this policy last updated?
So we have updated parts of the code recently. As we mentioned, I think it was back in March or April, we updated the K-9 pay policy. We added in that section. So we've done bits and pieces over the years, but it's been many years since we have done a comprehensive review.
And when do we anticipate going to the public hearing?
Again, 11 parts, so we anticipate sometime next summer.
Next summer? Okay,
Yes.
great. Thank you.
Yes. And if we do, Commissioner, if we need to fast track a certain section, as we're meeting with you, we certainly can. We can change one area of the code now, and then we'll continue with the comprehensive review.
Okay, great.
Haven't we already allowed some compressed work week schedules?
Yes. So the code currently allows the Board of County Commissioners to approve certain schedules. So there is verbiage there that gives you the ability to do that. So we are now creating a definition for compressed work week specifically.
So
And
we're just making official what we've already been doing?
in the event that you wanted to expand it further. I mean, we do have various schedules throughout the county. For example, in the control center, employees that don't sit at a desk 8:30 to 4:30. But as far as a compressed work week where people can,
Work 4 days instead of 5?
correct, we don't have an official policy on that, but there is definitely talk of certain departments potentially having the ability to do that to better serve the community.
And in the past, if someone was allowed to do that, that got approved here?
Yes, I believe Public Works has requested that in the past. I believe the construction, doesn't project management have, in the summertime, I think that they work 4 days.
4
So,
times?
yes, that was previously
Or 4,
approved here.
whatever.
Yeah.
I know they changed the hours years ago too, for summer hours versus winter hours, just daylight.
Yeah, I think it's an opportunity for us to provide flexibility. We've changed the way we do business in many ways, so.
Commissioners, Mark Willis, County Administrator, back when that was changed, a lot of times it changes revolving around the use of contractors. Contractors, for example, within the Public Works Department, will start very early in the morning, so we adjusted staff to take full benefit of that. And then one of the biggest challenges is making sure that we provide the same coverage time period for our citizens. So right now I have HR is looking at, Human Resources is looking into kind of a trial study of what that would look like for a 4-day, but that's just so that we have our own data information for the board, should we ever want to adopt that as a real 4-day work week. But we do have adjustments in the system that make us more efficient with our contractor use, or sometimes inclement weather.
Okay, I think we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So you'll be back with the other 10 parts?
Yes.
Was there a consultant involved in some of these changes?
There was. So we sent the entire code to a consultant. And a lot of the red line that you'll see in the code are recommendations that the consultant made. We're not necessarily adopting all of or recommending all of the changes that the consultant recommended, but yes, the consultant has reviewed, and what you will have in front of you will include those recommendations.
So are you going to give us all the recommendations and the reasons why you wouldn't want to accept some of those?
We can do that. If there's something that has been recommended by the consultant that we are not in support of, then we certainly can denote that in the
I think that might be
presentation.
helpful.
Okay. Absolutely. So in this section, the consultant recommended the diversity statement, and we support that. So
Was there something in this section that you can remember that they recommended that you're not moving forward?
No.
Not this section, no.
Not this section.
Yeah, we started you off very easy.
I just know over time, 86 issues come up all the time.
Yeah.
And I just thought it might be helpful, especially with 3 new commissioners. Because we all hear, what we hear.
Absolutely.
So the red line strikeouts in the blue, was all this from the consultant, or is this changes that you made after the fact?
It's a combination. Yeah.
You want to delineate those?
I guess if the justification as to why they didn't like what, I don't know how we want to split it up. I mean, it's going to be a lot to do it that way.
I don't know if I said it loudly enough. I just asked the commissioner if he wanted you to delineate those things that were suggested by the consultant and those things that you came up with on your own. I don't know if
We
there's
have
value in that or not.
We have a consultant's version that we certainly could put in with the backup. So then there would be 3 versions. There would be the consultant version, the marked up version, and then what the clean version would look like.
You could-
Or
I mean, is
just
there
what's-
value in that? I don't know. I'm just throwing
just-
stuff out.
Just what he suggested and maybe what you suggested and how we came to the one.
Commissioners, again, I think what would work well, I think, for the board is that staff comes to the meeting with that information, and they could point out what was recommended by the consultant at the time. I mean, I think if we try to fit it all onto one paper, it's going to be very confusing, but we could have the language that the consultant recommended, whether we chose to
Right.
keep it or not, and then what it was if we did not, and why we did not.
I'm just thinking through. We paid the consultant. He's a professional, or they are professionals, he or she, whoever. We paid them to do this work. I think that maybe we would want to see what they provided and hear your reasoning for why you don't think it's appropriate for us.
I can give you an example of one thing that we've come across so far, and it's what the county attorney's office would refer to as commentary. So the consultant may have put some verbiage in that would say something like, it is very imperative that you notify your supervisor immediately. And that's, the verbiage is just not the way the code is written. So we struck that because it just doesn't align with the voice and the style that we use in the document. So it's a lot of stylistic things and tone. And so we're not putting forth we're not recommending the exact verbiage that they're using, just so that it reads better. One example.
Yeah, let's try to do that moving forward.
Okay,
And whatever your rationale is, just so we understand,
absolutely.
that would be helpful. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The good news is in the summertime, we have nice short meetings. That brings us to public comment.
Is there
Mr.
anyone in
County
the room?
Attorney.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone in the room for public comment? And there is, okay.
Can I get a picture of all of you made with?
We can certainly do that after, if that's okay.
Yeah.
There is no one online for public comment, no one in the room for public comment, so I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah,
Mr.
give us a minute. We'll take care of that when we're done. Sure. Commissioner reports. Commissioner Cox.
Thank you, Mr. President. So last week, we had a National Night Out that I attended, and I think they all were well attended from what I heard. So good interaction with the community. And just a reminder, we are looking at the 3216 resolution with water and sewer. So any concerns or comments that you may have, please get back to our office and let us know what you think and feel. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Harlan?
Additionally, the plan is to set up a public meeting for that, correct?
Yes, for all the
Okay,
customers.
So it'll be more than just public comment. It'll actually be a public meeting where all the consumers will have the opportunity to comment on that, which I think definitely needs to be done without a doubt. National Night Out, as Commissioner Cox said, I attended a couple of National Night Out events as well, and I'll tell you, it was great to see a lot of directors in the county, from Parks and Rec to Public Safety, the sheriff's office, state police, all our volunteers. State police helicopter was actually at Brooms Island when I got down there. There was a lot of involvement and a lot of participant. It was a beautiful evening. Typically, it's one of the hottest nights that there is, it seems, all summer, but the weather definitely cooperated, and like I said, it was great to see everybody out and about.
Thank you. Commissioner Grasso?
I too attended National Night Out, and it was really great to see the interaction with the young people down to small children with our police officers and our firefighters, and staff was there as well, which was great to see. After that, I walked over to St. Anthony's parking lot to watch the pickleballers, and they've really got a lot of people there and very enthusiastic, from 80-some years old down to about 8 years old. And that 8-year-old was really good, and the 80-year-old couldn't believe it.
Did you play?
Did they rope you into play?
Yeah. Did you
No,
play?
I have plantar fasciitis, so I'm unable to play. But I'm hoping to eventually, definitely. And then on the 2nd of August, I attended a Jefferson Patterson Park Zoom meeting. And on August 5th, I attended Neon Nights down at Jefferson Patterson Park. That was a 5K race. And Shannon Nazal, our Director of Parks and Recreation, was one of the runners. Also, on Friday, I attended First Friday down at North Beach, and I received a flyer to experience Calvert Festival at the Jewel of the Chesapeake. This is going to be held September 23rd from noon to 5. Family fun activities and all things that make Calvert County the place to visit. And that's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Hart?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I went down to Arts and Bloom at Amory Gardens, and that was a nice event. A lot of people. So that's about it.
Short and sweet. So as was mentioned by my fellow commissioners, last Tuesday night was National Night Out. I went to Brooms Island, Long Beach, and I went to Oakland Hall, but there were a bunch of early birds at Oakland Hall. They were packed up and gone home by the time I got there. But they were very well attended. As Commissioner Arlen said, at Brooms Island, they had a state police helicopter there, and a lot of folks from the community come out. And Long Beach was the same way. A lot of participation from the community. So if you've never done one, you keep that in mind. Next year, the first Tuesday in August is National Night Out. And it's a great opportunity to meet your neighbors. At Long Beach, they have free food. And at other places, they have food trucks and lots of games and activities for kids. So they're pretty nice events. And I did want to mention, we began demolition of the National Guard Armory here in Prince Frederick this past week. Had some questions about the armory. The building was very old and had a lot of issues, so we've decided to tear that building down, and we got a $2 or $2.5 million grant, and we're going to put up a community pavilion to host farmers markets and community events, and we've talked about some different activities that we'll be able to do there and try to provide a community resource and for our citizens. So we're very optimistic about the wonderful events that are going to be held there. So if you drive by there and see that construction going on, that's why. Want to put a plug in for the Dragon Boat races in Solomons on August the 19th. If you've never seen a Dragon Boat race, you need to attend that. And the Christchurch Jousting Tournament is August the 26th, starts at 1 o'clock, dinner starts at 3 or 4. And I mentioned the animal adoption event going on. I guess what I failed to mention was that for the entire month of August, they've waived all adoption fees for those animals fit for adoption. So it's a great opportunity because it's expensive to take animals in the shelter, and people go and adopt, and sometimes they're a little surprised at the fees they have to pay for the shots and all the various things. So if you go during the month of August, it's free. They say nothing's free, but this is free. So save yourself hundreds of dollars in some cases, and find and give a pet a home. Because some people are under the misconception that these are all stray animals that we've picked up off the street and out of the woods, but they're not. A lot of times families outgrow their pets, or they have to move and they can't take their pets with them. So as we mentioned earlier, some of these pets are fully trained, housebroken, they're ready to go. They're used to families, so, you don't have to go through, I'm going through puppy right now, and it's
he
a
housebroken?
challenge. He's pretty close to housebroken. My wife says no more puppies. But I wouldn't trade him for the world, but it's like having a baby, and for at least the next 5 months.
So the 3 rescues we got, all 3 were house trained. Now the Beagle kind of has a mind of his own at times, but the other 2, they were turnkey. I mean, but the one, he had been abandoned twice, and then the other girl just couldn't take care of her anymore. And then got roped into the Beagle at a Humane Society event, and he just likes to run. So he uses an excuse. He goes out more than he needs to just to go run. So so we turn him loose.
Yeah. Talked to a gentleman recently, got to talking about dogs and my puppy and stuff, and he lost his wife in the last 5 months, and he said if it weren't for my 2 dogs, he said I couldn't have survived. So if you never had a pet, it's Commissioner Ireland has a pet that he loves more than his wife. No disrespect to his wife.
No. Don't put me in that bag, whatever you do.
Those locks are being changed.
I hope she's listening to you. My wife, that is.
The dog probably is. So once again, go to our county website. We plug farmers markets. I think this afternoon I'm going to the one at the hospital. We have some wonderful farmers markets throughout Calvert County. You go to the county website, you can find out when and where those markets are, and also find local farmers where you can connect with at any time to get local products. Whew, I believe that concludes my report. Commissioner Hart, you have a motion for me?
Yes, sir. I move to recess to executive session pursuant to general provisions, Article Section 3-305B3, to consider the acquisition of real property or public purpose in matters directly related to the acquisition, and B7, to consult with counsel and obtain legal advice.
Second.
I have a motion and a second that we go into executive session. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Everyone have a great day.
Thank you.